President of Nigerian Academy of Letters, Professor B. Olatunji Lorotime, past presidents of the Academy, I now specially recognize the presence in our midst of our host, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Rahamondo. I also recognize the representative of the President of the Nigerian Academy of Pharmacists, in person of Professor Mrs. Cecilia Uhuoma Iguilo. In the same vein, I also recognize the presence of the representatives of other academies. You are welcome. The President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, we now come to the investiture of fellows. Professor Akamu G. Adebayo, please step forward. President, Nigeria Academy of Letters, I now invite the public orator, Professor Dele Layuola, to read the citation on Professor Adebayo.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I hereby present Professor Akamu Adebayo, a professor of history, director of the Center for Conflict Management, and from 2003 to 2009, executive director of the Institute for Global Initiatives at Kennesaw State University at Kennesaw, Georgia, in the United States of America. Professor Adebayo was the first graduate of history with a first-class honors degree at the University of Ife in 1979. He became what has become is now what has become a brilliant academic career. First, as a graduate assistant from 1980, becoming a senior lecturer in 1990, visiting associate professor at York University, Canada from 1991 to 1992, associate professor at Kennesaw from 1992 until 1997, when he became professor at the same university. The defining area of Professor Adebayo's scholarship as an economic historian is his pioneering foray into the history of revenue allocation, revenue sharing, and indigenous financial institutions. He is thus one of those who believe history to be an applied science and a bridge between the core humanities and the social sciences. Professor Adebayo has also made significant contributions in the areas of conflict studies, migration and identity, as well as policy in both indigenous and globalizing communities. Professor Adebayo is an accomplished administrator, having been Assistant Dean of the College of Humanities and the Social Sciences from 2002 through 2003. He had also been Visiting Fellow, Institute for Modern Oriental Studies, Berlin in 1994, Visiting Scholar at the Dominican Institute, Ibadan in 1998, as well as Visiting Professor to the University of Ibadan since 2009. This honoree has a wide-angled intellectual lens, having teaching competence in at least 16 broad areas of the curriculum. He is an astute administrator and a proven mentor to his students. He has either supervised or is supervising 5 doctoral theses and about the same number of MA students at the moment. He is the beneficiary of the following awards, amongst others: the University of Ife Prize for overall best performance in the BA degree for 1979, in 2 consecutive years, 1994 and 1995, the African American Students Alliance Award for dedication and commitment to black students at Kennesaw State University campus. In 1998 and 1999, he was nominated for the Distinguished Scholarship Award. Presidents and distinguished leaders of the Nigerian Academy. Professor Adebayo is not only the series editor for the Lexington book series on conflict and security in the developing world, he also serves as editorial board member and reviewer on 2 eminent international journals. It is this accomplished scholar, a 2009 Tommy and Beth Holder awardee, a 2014 Ida B. Wells African and American Diaspora Studies Program awardee, and an extraordinary mentor that I present to you, Mr. President, for the admission to the fellowship of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite you to admit Professor Akamuji Adebayo as a Fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
Great pleasure, and on behalf of the Nigerian Academy of Letters, admit you as one of our participants.
Professor Duro Oli, please. President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite the public orator, Professor Dele Laiwola, to read the citation on Professor. President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Professor Duru Odiya decided university education at the University of Ibadan and later took an MFA degree from the prestigious California Institute of Arts, specializing in lighting and stage design. After a while, he returned to Ibadan, where he cut his teeth to further sharpen them in the theater, where he took a PhD in 2002.
Professor Duru had been Senior Arts Fellow and Head of Auditorium Management at the Center for Cultural Studies of the University of Lagos from 1992 to 1997. He became Senior Lecturer in the new Department of Creative Arts from 1997 to 2000. And from 2000 to 2005, he was an Associate Professor in the same department and Professor from 2005 to date. Professor Oni was fortunate to be the pioneer director of the Confucius Institute at the University of Lagos from 2008 through 2009, a center which is now firmly established and thriving. A seasoned university administrator and manager, Professor Oni was head of the Department of Creative Arts from 2006 to 2009 and became dean from 2009 to 2013. From 4th February 2013 to the present, he obtained a higher call to serve as the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Management Services of the University of Lagos. That was his second return to the University Policy Hall, having served on the Governing Council of the University from 2007 to 2011. Professor Duru Oni had also served outside of the university, especially in government. For instance, he was the Director Chief Executive of the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization from 2000 to 2006. Prior to this, he served as Special Assistant Advisor to the Honorable Minister of Culture and Social Welfare from October 1990 to February 1991. He was also Special Assistant and Advisor to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports from February 1991 through February 1992. In his chosen field of technical theatre, he has garnered ample recognition, credit, and awards. He earned a 2003 Gold Award as the Technical Director for the Technical Committee of the Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting, CHOGO, the Association of Nigerian Theatre Practitioners Award for Excellence in 2003, and in 1986 he earned the Nigerian Television Authority Award for Lighting Design for the stage adaptation of Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, the television series. Again, in 1999, he got a special commemoration from the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. for design work on Things Fall Apart done at that center. Professor Oni has been privileged to be part of at least 13 international theatre festivals and is consultant to many studios and technical institutions. He had also been external examiner and assessor to major universities within and outside of Nigeria. He is widely published in his chosen field of technical theatre, design and management. President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, and Congregation of the Academy. It is this consummate scholar, this consummate university teacher and administrator, an astute policy maker and manager that I present to you for admission to the Fellowship of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite you to admit Professor Oni as a Fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
It's with great pleasure that I greet you as Fellow Nigerian Academy of Letters. Congratulations.
Professor Mary E. Mutupe Kolawole, please step forward. President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite the public orator, Professor Dele Laiwola, to read the citation.
Mr. President, I herewith present to you a feminine icon, Professor Mary Edmund Mutupe Kolawole, who was formerly a professor of English at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. She is now not only a professor of English at Kwara State University, Malete, but also the Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies in the same university. Professor Kolawole took a BA Honors degree in English of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in 1972. After a stint at Kwara State Polytechnic and Oyo State College of Arts and Science, she transferred her services to the then University of Ife in 1982. She took an MA in 1981 and a PhD in literary theory in 1985 from the same university. Professor Kolawole's main areas of research are literary theory, post-colonial and women's literature, and gender studies. She attained the enviable position of professor in 1999. Professor Kolawole's research is rigorous, trenchant, incisive, and thorough. Her observations and conclusions are grounded, contextualized, inclusive, and multidisciplinary. This shows her as an original researcher of great drive and talent, not in the least devoid of sprightly humor and vitality. She once affirmed that, and I quote her, that her research specialization derives from the need to speak back in a positive way that will enhance scholarly relevance and endogenous interpretation of literature. I saw that Western literary theorists who pose as mouthpieces for Africans in post-colonial and in particular gender studies present outsider views. End of quotation. Mr. President, for instance, she rejected the notion of radical feminism as exclusively Western, and with Alice Walker and Chikwenle Okonjo-Iweala became pioneers in the invention of the term womanism as an option to feminism. This term is a preferred option for African researchers because it is less conflictual, more inclusive, and carries both men and women along. This invention explains the basis of our fame and recognition in both national and international ivory towers. Professor Kolawole is the first woman professor of English and in the Faculty of Arts at Obafemi Awolowo University. From 2004 through 2006, she was head of department and chair of English and Women's Studies at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. From 2003 to 2006, she was a member of the University Governing Council. From 1991 to 2000, she was editor, Journal of Gender and Development in Africa. From 1998 to 2002, she was editor-in-chief, FSTAJOY in African Literature and the Arts. Professor Kolawole has been on the jury of the Association of Nigerian Authors, Commonwealth Writers' Prize, and, of course, the Nigerian LNG Literary Awards. She had been a guest researcher on the sponsorship of foundations such as Rockefeller, Ford, Carnegie, Association of Commonwealth Universities in the British Council, German DAAD, Swedish International Development Agency, the Feminist Press of New York, and the African Gender Institute of Cape Town. Twice, she had been a grantee of the United States National Endowment for Humanities in 1990 and 2000, respectively. This distinguished scholar had won enviable laurels as guest speaker in most major countries of the Western world, and of course, for charity in good measure, Nal's annual lecturer at Adekunle Ajasin University, Akumba, in 2011. Mr. President, sir, it is this urbane scholar, a cosmopolitan and focused matriarch in her own right, an astute and dedicated teacher, a researcher of rare drive and talent, who has done womanhood and Africa proud, that I present to you for the award of the Fellowship of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite you to admit Professor Mary E. Modupe Olawale as a Fellow of Nigerian Academy of Letters. Professor Victor Olusegun Awunosi, please step up. President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite the public orator, Professor Dele Laiwola, to read the citation on Professor Awunosi.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I hereby present to you Professor Victor Olusegun Awunosi, a distinguished academic and an outstanding manager of higher education in Nigeria. Professor Awunosi had a BA Honours degree from the University of Lagos in 1979 and a PhD from the University of London, specializing in English phonetics and linguistics. Professor Awunosi's career as a teacher is quite comprehensive. He had his humble beginnings as an elementary school teacher from 1970 to 1972. A high school teacher from 1973 through 1977. His university teaching career from 1980 until he became a professor of English in the year 2000. So he has straddled the entire gamut of education. His postgraduate supervisory and mentoring roles began in 1986, and to date has supervised at least 76 MA/MPhil candidates and 10 PhDs. His research interests and publications cover three broad areas. First, English language and linguistics, where he has published widely in sociolinguistics, phonetics, and phonology. Two, language and education, where his publications have dwelt largely on applied linguistics and English as a foreign language. Third, language and society, where he has explored language planning and policy in Nigeria, as well as the comparative use of English and African languages in the democratic process. This candidate, apart from his teaching and publishing career, is also a public intellectual. He has, among other awards, won the Nigerian English Studies Association Merit Award in 2006, an ACU, that is Association of Commonwealth Universities, Fellowship in 2007, an Ogun State 10 Giants in Education Award in 2010, ASU Leadership Award of the same year, and was nominated a Fellow of the Nigerian English Studies Association in 2014. Apart from serving as the head of English department from 2005 to 2007, he has served his alma mater in many other capacities. As University Orator from 1999 to 2003, University Master of Ceremonies from 2000 to 2007, and Chairman, Unilag Radio Management Board from 2002 through 2008. Professor Awolusi's forte is his contribution to the management of higher education in Nigeria. For instance, he had been Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology in Ogun State from 2007 through 2010. Vice Chancellor Taisholani University of Education Ijebu-Ode from 2010 through 2013. And was appointed the Vice Chancellor of the defunct Federal University of Education, Kano. It is therefore my distinct pleasure and privilege to present this distinguished man of letters, this academic of note, for admission, Mr. President, to the Fellowship of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite you to admit Professor Victor Olusegun Awolusi as a Fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Letters. Professor Samuel Chinedu Kala, please step forward. President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite the public orator, Professor Dele Layola, to read the citation on Professor Okada.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, Professor Samuel Chinedu Ukala, or as is popularly called, Sam Ukala, in a schematic sense, belonged to the second generation of Nigerian playwrights and dramatists whose preoccupations are with the post-bellum period of Nigeria's history and social consciousness. They are often reflexive in their engagement with a folk society that gives rise to nostalgia. He had his university education first at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where he graduated with honors in English in 1977. He had his MA and PhD degrees in 1983 and 1986 respectively in theatre arts at the University of Ibadan. This honoree had shown early promise even as an undergraduate. For instance, in 1976, he won the Reverend J.B. Landy Prize for Best Short Story for his short story, Lump in the Pond. In the same year, he won the British Council Prize for Best All-Round Student in the Department of English of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. In 1977, he won the NYSC Drama Award for his play, Darkness in the Distance. In 1989, he won the Anna British Council Prize for Drama. In 2000, he was the first runner-up for the Anna Poetry Prize for his collection, In My Hermitage. Professor Okala had been a man of industry, having worked in the personnel department of both the Labour Brothers and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company before venturing into full-time university teaching. In the various universities where he had taught, Ambrose Ali University, Ekoma, the University of Benin, Delta State University, Abraka, and so on and so forth, he proved his mettle. In these universities, he served as head of department, dean, and subsequently as the provost of the Asaba campus of the Delta State University. In these universities also, his engagement with the theatre arts curriculum is breathtaking, as indicated by the various courses he taught. The main frame of his engagement with scholarship is his original concept of folkism as the moving spirit behind the writing and conceptualization of African drama. This would seem to have paid off in the laurels that accrued to him thereafter. Professor Okala is fairly well traveled. He won the Commonwealth Academic Staff Fellowship to visit the workshop theatre at the University of Leeds during the 1993-94 session. In the 1998-1999 session, he visited the Horse and Bamboo Theatre Company at Waterfoot, Lancashire, UK. To date, Professor Okala had published over 30 creative works and had published over 35 books or essays in learned journals. President and the leaders of the academy. It is this compulsive man of the theatre, this mentor and teacher, this noteworthy and distinguished academic that I present to you for admission to the regular fellowship of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
President, Nigerian Academy of Letters, I now invite you to admit Professor Samuel Chinedu Okala as a Fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Letters.
Great President, I admit you as Fellow Nigerian Academy of Letters.
I now invite Professor Duro Olu to respond on behalf of the new board.
The President, founding President, past Presidents of the Nigerian Academy of Letters, Vice Chancellor, and members of management of the University of First Choice and the nation's pride. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the fellow awardees, Professor Samuel Kala, Professor Victor Olusegun Awonusi, Professor Mary E. Modupe Kolawole, and Professor Akomu Adebayo, I would like to express our collective gratitude to the College of Fellows and the Nigerian Academy of Letters for the honor done to us. A cursory look at the previous and current fellows will give you an insight into how privileged we are. Notable among the fellows include Professors Ayobanjo Oshe, Ayobanjo J.F. Ajajayi, Wole Soyinka, J.P. Clark, Adele Afigo, Chinua Achebe, Kunle Adeniyan, Dan Zebaye, Mozali Jubre, etc., etc. Indeed, it is self-evident that we counted worthy of our fellowship of such a distinguished academy is an honor that we will cherish forever. When I tried to figure out my selection to give the acceptance speech on behalf of the awardees, first I realized that my name was in the middle of the list on the board. So if you count from the top, 2 and then my name. If you count from the bottom, 2 and then my name. Perhaps also because I'm known to give brief speeches and also for holding short meetings. It is a thing of honor and great joy to all of us that the University of Lagos at the moment is the home of 4 of the country's academies: the Nigerian Academy of Arts, of Letters, Academy of Science, Academy of Engineering, and only recently the Academy of Pharmacy. This is therefore an honor to the Vice Chancellor and the University of Lagos for being such great hosts. On a final note, I recall as a young student at the University of Ibadan in 1971 how we all gathered at the Trenchard Hall to listen to the Dean of the Faculty of Arts of that great university. He walked into the hall with all of us standing. Of course, before us was an academic giant, a god to us. I'm even more delighted to note that the same man is here with us today and still waxing strong in the person of the founding president of the Nigerian Academy of Letters, Professor Ayo Bagboshi. Mr. President, founding president, Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, long live our great academy, long live the University of Lagos, and long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank you all on behalf of the awardees for your kind attention. I thank you.